we will be about to have one here as well. It's Romanticide. Pretty good map for some of the longer games, but let's see how we go over here in the bottom right. This is the Protoss hero himself in the blue. It's Haas.
His opponent in the top left-hand side, coming in as a big underdog. You look at his raw skill and performance in StarCraft in general, he looks like he's almost at the same level, but the head-to-head does not a corner and change the story. In the top left, this is Rex. Huge if you could turn that around. It's always that thing where someone becomes a sort of nemesis, and it's finding the way to just kind of go into your matches without kind of ruining your own mental state by kind of knowing and thinking about all the past times you've gotten a game or you've gotten a lead and you've let it slip away. Because when you've played this many times, there is a lot of bad memories that can just be kind of distracting. So we want to see if Rex can kind of just stay calm and collected and find a way forwards. And for Romanticide, it doesn't seem like a map that would really suit Haas's like weird charge lot styles as much. It seems like the sort of map where I would imagine Haas is going to open up with Void Ray or Void Ray Oracle. Just the nature of the map doesn't seem very good to force a 2-base, 3-base ground all in to work.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is kind of the map where we'll see him play like an everyday Protoss instead of the Haas edition. But I mean, time will tell. I've definitely seen him all in on Romanticide off like 2 bases and stuff, which is kind of like, what? What are you doing? But it works because it's just, you know, so out there. But actually, I didn't notice. Oh, okay, hold on. Never mind. I was going to ask about his team because I haven't seen team prep before, and I was wondering when he joined. But we do have the tech coming down for Haas.
Yeah, this is actually, and he faked the warp gate there, so he didn't start warp gate straight away. So it looks like it's maybe a Stargate build, because it's like, hey, where's that gas? Then you see the Stalker come out, and you go, he's denying my information, and he's doing something weird. Haas is doing something weird again, and you don't know what it is. And it's just a Zealot building behind that Stalker, I'm guessing just to guard the wall, an extra gateway. And so what's so great, right, is Zerg's job is to see what the Protoss can do, build as many drones, and then if there's a chance of aggression based off their scouting, build units at the last moment, defend it, and then get ahead. The problem with the way Haas opens in this matchup is he's so unreadable. It's every Zerg. The big problem most players have is they actually under-drone, and he gets them in the mid-game, right? Because he does these kind of ambiguous openings where you're like, wait, so there is an early robo, but are you actually committing to a big attack or not? Like right now, we see 3 gateways and a robo. That seems like a big commitment to a big attack. But let's keep our eyes on it. A 4th gateway and an immortal. I mean, this is a huge commitment right now. No more probe production.
No, and he's pulled completely out of gas as well. So he's invested in it.
Doesn't even fake probes though. Isn't that a bit too blatant? I mean, Rex has the read. If Rex dies to this, I will be flabbergasted. That is like so obvious what Haas is doing to not even pretend to build probes, because what you can do is you can queue probes on the natural and then cancel them before they pop, at least when that Overlord's coming in. To not even do that, I mean, this is completely all in. Roach Horn's there, 20 Zerglings on the way. This seems like a perfect response from Rex.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the second he sort of saw, all right, there's really not much happening here, econ-wise, tech-wise, we saw 3 Overlords queue up, right? He's like, all right, I'm going to need a whole lot of supply to help defend, and he's moving out proactively with these links. He's seen the Immortals, and now he's seen a little bit more of what's coming across the map, and he's able to keep tabs on that Warp Prism too. So, as you said, he's got a good setup here to keep things going for himself. The first few roaches are about to pop as well. The Zealots are going to be a bit of a pain when you got Lings out on the field to defend with, but
yeah, so he can't make any more roaches. Rex has got so many units though, maybe it doesn't matter just with the roach queen count. I mean, this is a slow Zealot attack. This is absolutely wild. This sort of attack is so immobile. The one immortal is the only thing that really kills roaches, but Zerglings suck versus Zealots, so this is not going to be an easy engagement for Rex, but he's got a big flank.
Yeah, he certainly does, and he's starting to get on top of some of these units, but the Zealots do quite well against Lings, as we know, and if they can chew through all of those Lings, then they get to the juicy Queen Center. There's no Roaches left, 5 more about to pop, but they also need some help. They can't fight this many Zealots and an Immortal by themselves, and now we have Rex stutter-stepping Queens to try and keep this going.
Yeah, the lack of roaches. There's no way to really kite down these zealots if you don't have ranged units. The Ling's not doing well, and that Immortal has added so much damage. Notice how it's always focusing down a roach whenever possible. You can see the Immortal is not wasting time attack moving. Haas doesn't really have a lot to micro with this push. Let's be real. He's A-moving zealots. It's just the Immortal is perfectly microed and it's doing its job. It's just a good attack to take out a player who's very mineral heavy and can't respond with a lot of roaches.
Wow. Well, there you have it. 2 base on Romanticide. Definitely not the map that we're going to get a normal game out of Haas from. But, man, he's stone cold, isn't he? He's just like, yep, exactly as I planned. And that went beautifully. Rex, we thought he had it in the bag. We thought he was well set up, but he ran out of gas, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of spines is like maybe an okay call there, but honestly, the lack of the second gas is really what does it. So the idea there is you look at that and you think Immortal all in. If it's Immortals with Sentries and Stalkers, Zerglings are perfect against those units because they don't take bonus damage to all the armored bonuses from the Stalkers and the Immortals. But when it comes to Zealots, Roaches or Banelings are what you really need. And Roaches, of course, are the peak. So when there's only one Immortal and there's literally no other ranged firepower, you basically just need to get enough Roaches and you just need to move and shoot and move and shoot. And the slow Zealots will never actually be able to force you to fight. And you can just basically fall back, give up some drones, give up a hatchery even if you have to. The Zealots are completely worthless. But if you attack into the Zealots in one big fight, it doesn't matter that they don't have charge. Why would they need charge if you're coming to them? So Haas, this is one of the least flexible attacks ever, where if you run into a Zerg who's got like 8-10 Roaches together, refuses to fight, just keeps picking off Zealots, pulling back, and then they get up 10, 15, 20 Roaches. It hits a point where your army is just useless as Haas, and you're forced to take gases and transition behind it, but you're probably dead, because there's basically no follow-up. It's a 30 pro ball. It's like literally 1 gas, 1.5 mineral ions, that's about it. But as it was, Rex going for the kind of power overwhelming Queens, Zerglings, and just trying to crush not the right units to deal with Zealots.
Yeah, I wonder if Haas just knows how Rex typically plays on Romanticide, you know, tries to get 3 bases, chill out on the gas, just, you know, drone up, rely on Queen Ling like most Zergs do, and then maybe get the Roaches later, but yeah, it just kind of fell apart pretty quickly there, and that's the nature of Zealots, right? If they get on top of your stuff and you don't really have enough from the get-go, then there's really not much you can do about it. So an unfortunate one for Rex there. Hopefully that doesn't rattle him. He always seems pretty calm and collected when we see the player cam, so it's very hard to tell if he's like tilted after that.
Oh, I look into the eyes on those player cams, Zeph, and I'm pretty sure I see a deep frustration of having to play Haas for 10 years in tournaments. I used to compete a fair bit. There's players out there. I never had to play regularly against a guy like Haas, but I can imagine the torture that it is of playing someone who's always 3 steps ahead in the mind games. I mean, he is an absolute beast, and he is indeed playing for Prep Esports up here in the top right-hand side. This is Haas.
And hopefully having a better fortune here on the 2000 atmospheres. Our Zerg player, he wants to advance. Can he get a point here? This is Rex.
I just looked it up as you were mentioning about Haas joining Prep just 20 days ago, September 9th. So yeah, that is a pretty recent pickup, and already hoping to see him hang on to that throne, I think, over in Taiwan. Us, always a very, very exciting player to watch. And I mean, we recently saw actually him kind of doing a bit of an ode to SOS in some of his PVTs, where he was going and building gateways on top of the barracks of the Terran as his opening. So it was good to see Haas saying, "Oh, you know what, SOS, that's a good build. Let's try it out. I saw you do it in your last retirement match." So I'm hoping we get to see some Haas Expect maybe or something like that later on, because Haas's PvT is just, woof, it's a thing of beauty.
Yeah, trust him to take inspiration from an opener like that. That sounds right up his alley.
They'll probably hang out in a Discord channel together, to be real, actually. If there's two players who've probably been sharing ideas for years, Haas and SOS.
Quite likely. And, well, Rex is going to be looking for a way into that big brain of Haas's, and hopefully he can at least survive a little longer. The last one was over pretty quick. To, you know, strut his stuff a little bit. Rex is no slouch. He can play macro games like nobody's business, but the problem can be getting there against Haas. So we see him trying to get a bit of a scout already. The Stalker is here, which means he's a little bit limited in how deep he can get on that side. I don't think he has an Overlord near the main, but
Haas
it is
doesn't
going to be
have
the
any
Stargate.
scouts on the map, I don't think, does he, right? He's just got the Stalker. And Rex is doing a Ravager Zergling all in. So yeah, Haas is so focused on denying scouting. I mean, he's actually sending a Stalker to the Watchtower, which is kind of wild. It would be so funny if it went in and like sees roaches leaving the base. It would be insane to do that. But it's like Ling Speed's going to be kicking in soon. But if it... Yeah, I mean, Haas needs a Void Ray. He needs a Void Ray ASAP. And if he full walls, that's how you defend any sort of attack like this. You basically just plonk a gateway down in your wall, and you say you've got to take down an extra 1,000 hit point structure just to get inside. So if this gets spotted on the way across the map, you're screwed. Why is this a good all-in for Rex? Well, pretty simple. There's no Adept Scout. He knows that Haas is like, nah. I went Stalker into Zealot game 1. I'm doing it again game 2. This seems to be a habit, a pattern. And he's even hiding his oracles, so they're not going to go out and scout either, Zeph.
Oh, no. Well, this bodes well for Rex. He's starting to slowly march out here. And, I mean, it's not unusual to see queens walking out on the map in this climate. And, oh, man, the Ravager's already morphing in. There's so many Lings backing this up as well. This is literally all he has, folks. A Stalker and a Zealot to hold the fort at the front. There's no shield batteries. There's no Void Ray. There's no cannons. He's actually just going to die.
And he lets him in as well. Oh, that's especially bad. The Oracle will come down as well. Another Void Ray does start up. I mean, there's only 23 workers. So remember, this needs to not just be damage. You've kind of got to kill Haas here, or at least kill most of his workers. So good morph on the low hit point Roach, but target fired by Haas to make sure it can't regenerate.
Well, that Void Ray is getting closer and closer. He actually can't make any other units because those two initial gateways have been depowered. The others are still building. He's got a Robo now as well, but I don't think he has much to work with here. He's slowly losing all these probes. Well, not so slowly now. They're all getting absolutely shredded, so I think this is kind of it. Like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you clean this up if you've got no workers.
Did you tune in to watch the most high-level, big-brain, 300 IQ strategy game in the world? Did you want to see two intellectuals jousting in a long game of tactics and strategy? Well, sorry guys, we've got Haas and Rex just to but now it's just two guys lighting each other on fire in the first 5 minutes of the game. It is as all in as you can possibly get right now. And yeah, they both know each other's habits. You called it in game 1. He knew, hey, you like to go heavy Zergling? Guess what that doesn't do with Mass Zealot? And on the counter, Rex says, well, if you're not going to scout, I'll take advantage of that as well, buddy.
Yeah. Rough one for Haas. So he's showing he's still got what it takes. I mean, I always forget for some reason that Rex is just as willing to do something quick and dirty to his opponent as much as Haas is. So in my head, I'm like, oh, he's totally just, he wants to get to that mid game, he wants to get the late game. No, he's just gonna go straight and punch him in the mouth as a bit of payback for game number 1. And that's awesome. I mean, this is what's fun about watching people like Haas and Rex, because they've come up against each other so many times. You get the mind game experience, which sometimes it's a long game, sometimes it's fast and violent.
Indeed. I mean, you know, and this is classic taking advantage of your opponent's habits. I mean, because this region is so influenced by Haas, a lot of the players, they cut corners here or there, and they've also learned that, hey, you can't beat Haas just playing completely standard. You've got to punish him. If you're not punishing him at all, like, he will just cut these corners over and over and get a lead by, number 1, denying scouting, and he doesn't invest in the Adept to scout you at the same time. But Rex here punishing with a nice swift strike. Gets the damage done. The Ravager Zergling very good way of surprising your opponent. Oracle's, of course, not able to defend that. And it's so funny because like this all-in is almost impossible to make work if they just do an Adept Scout. Like this is not something where it's like, oh, that looked like a good attack. Can I do that? It's like, well, yeah, sure. If people in your league don't Adept Scout, sure. But in pro matches, they almost always do. Haas is the one guy who's like, well, everyone else Adept Scouts. Because of that, no one's doing an all-in that early. Therefore, why do I need to play safe against it? You know, Haas is the guy. He basically benefits off the welfare of all the Protossers who do play very safe and solid. And he's like, oh, because of that, people assume I'm Protoss, I'm safe at this point. And he will push that envelope as far as he can. So Rex very necessarily punishing it.
Yeah, it is a very Haas thing to do, isn't it? Like, we've watched him time and time again in any matchup. He'll be like, yeah, I'll go Nexus first, no Scout, that's fine. I know how to deal with that. Like, he's just got absolute balls of steel, this man. But can he make it work one more time? Is it going to be a longer game? Can we actually get to the mid game here, folks? Let's find out on Lightshade in the bottom right. This is our blue Protoss from Prep. He is Haas.
Top left, the underdog there with a brutal all-in to tie up the series. Can he close it out on Nightshade? This is Rex. Mentioned in the tail end of that one, you know, you're always thinking about, oh yeah, Rex has got to get to the mid game, and I mean that's usually his goal. He really is, and I feel like he defends stuff so well. In the past, maybe a year ago, I remember my frustration as a Rex fanboy was like, he would kind of defend well, but then he would feel like he needs to go all in. So he'd be like, I gotta walk the queens and go with the Ravagers into a situation like where it's like up against Stalker Disruptor or something, where it's like, oh, this is, you know, not the right play against that. Whereas I felt he could go into a longer game. Sorry, wait, that's Forge?
Yeah, that's a Forge, my friend. Haven't seen one of those this early in a hot minute.
Oh, and look at that, and he's gonna sit there and micro it for a few. He's like, oh, he didn't even. Okay, normally he pretends for a little bit longer, like he's actually harassing. The drone's right behind him. Ooh, this is a 4-pylon wall-off. This is not a very easy one to get up right now. Okay, this is a 5-pylon.
Well,
ouch, that's expensive. Oh, but he doesn't get it. He doesn't have the money. Oh, he cancels the bottom one to get the money. Oh, and then by the time the drone gets back around, it's up. Oh,
what a legend. So Rex is just sitting here like, thanks, I hate it. Just straight up cancels that because he knows he can't really stop it at this point. And look at that. Haas just cancels what he doesn't need and makes sure he gets those cannons up. This isn't even a serious drone pool. You need 3 to actually cancel the thing. So, yeah, nice start for Haas. Being cheeky as always.
And remember, his Cybercore is finished. So he can just build a Stargate immediately. And he's building it on the front. Oh my. Oh, Haas. Haas? I mean, he's going to go Void Race, Shield Battery against the Zerg. Now that's fascinating because Zerg has Queens, which shoot up real good. Also, if this Stargate goes down, you just lose, right? As Haas, because you don't have any other tech. It means you're not expanding. Expanding is the safe way to get ahead. Build a Stargate at home. Make a Nexus, make a Void Ray, you know, you're going to be in a pretty good spot. But in this case, I mean, he could even follow it up with like Tempest or something like that if the Void Rays can't straight up win. And the thing is, the Queens can't group up, right? The natural only now finishing, which means the first Queen starts at the same time the Void Ray starts. Adepts are going to join in as well, which means they can shade in if there's ever an unprotected mineral line. How do you defend both mineral lines from both Adepts and from Void Rays at the same time?
Great question. I'm sure Rex would also like to know the answer to that as he tries to spook away this shade from the Adept. Definitely doesn't want anything in there at the moment, but this is rough. This is such a difficult position to crack, and he doesn't have the econ he wants. This is not the game plan, and this is just, you know, mud wrestling at this point. This isn't really stuff that you get to practice, unfortunately. So Queens are going to be the help against this Void Ray. But he's still got to regain this territory and survive this attack. I mean, this poor lone queen on the right-hand side having a bit of trouble against that Void Ray.
Yeah, and that Adept's gonna help out. The Void Ray's already taken down 2 Ravagers. The focus fire is insane. Haas has already cleared the Ravagers out. I think this might just be it. If the Ravagers are gone, only 1 cannon's full. There's still 2 left.
I don't think it's possible for Rex. I hate to be doom and gloom, but even if he kept all his Ravagers, there's batteries coming in here. He's got the Voids. It's so difficult to build up enough to actually survive this giant sim city of Protoss hatred. It's just in your natural.
The physical manifestation of Protoss hatred, cannons, shield batteries, and Void Rays in your natural expand. I absolutely love it, Zeph. It's too true. It's too true. And Rex, unfortunately, going to run back up his ramp. Unable to break out there. The Queens, the Roaches, the Zerglings, not enough. And Haas